Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to World of Tanks with the Mighty Jingles, where today we're taking a look at the all-new, all-singing, all-dancing German Tier 11, the Borked, or however the hell you pronounce it. It's a fine-looking tank, armed with a punchy 105mm gun, not the only high-tier light tank armed with a 105mm gun. More on that in a moment. For now, however, let's take a look at the vehicle's physical characteristics. Like I said, it's a fine looking machine. I think they've done a great job on the model. Let's take a quick look at the armour, because this is an extremely light tank. That lower glacis is only 50mm thick, and it's extremely flat. There's basically no angling whatsoever on it, and this of course is a tier 11 tank. So anything that can shoot at it can easily penetrate that, and that's the thickest armour on the tank. The good news is, on the other side of that is the engine, so shots from the front probably aren't going to kill the crew, but they are going to immobilise you. Now you might be looking at that upper glacis or upper hull and thinking, well, that's extremely nicely sloped, a bit like the S-Tank. Yeah, don't worry, nothing's going to ricochet off that from any angle, because it's only 14.5mm thick, which means even a 44mm shell is going to overmatch and go through it like a hot knife through butter. And even if you could get a magic ricochet from that upper glacis, where's the shot going to go? It's going to go straight into the turret front, which is only 25mm thick, or worse, into the shot trap under the gun barrel, into that 20mm gun mantlet. So, yeah. The best thing you can possibly hope for if this thing actually gets hit by anything within its matchmaking spread is that the shots go into the tracks and immobilise it, and you're just really, really fast on the repair kit button. It does have a stupidly big gun for such a small tank though, doesn't it? Just like the British Tier 10 light tank, the Manticore. And here's a direct comparison. And you can see that in just about every category other than concealment, this thing is better. It has 800 more damage per minute. And while the Manticore's 105mm gun does do more damage per shot, and has better penetration, it has twice the reload. And a worse aiming time, and worse accuracy. Basically, just about everything that matters about the British 105mm gun-armed light tank is worse. And it's not just stuff like reload, accuracy, damage per minute, and aiming time. It's got 10 degrees better gun elevation, and 4 degrees better gun depression. It's faster, it's more powerful, it's got better effective top speed on all types of terrain. It has more hit points. All of its modules have much more health and are much more resistant to actually taking damage. The all-round better mobility, however, because this thing's mobility is extremely good, can actually come back and bite this thing in the arse. Mostly because of all of the weight up top, represented by that extremely nice 105mm gun, which realistically you would never be able to fit into the turret ring of a 20-ton tank as small as this. Well, you might, but you also wouldn't be able to get a turret big enough to fit enough crew in there to command the tank, load and fire the gun at the same time. It kind of reminds me of the Fox armoured car, which is a 7-ton vehicle, but 3 of those 7 tons are all contained in the turret, and it's an extremely dangerous vehicle to drive at high speed and attempt to take a corner with. The Borked is kind of like that. That extreme mobility combined with that very big and very heavy gun up top can mean that it is very, very easy to flip this thing over if you're not paying attention to what you're doing. Fortunately, driving the tank for us today, it is none other than star of stage screen and dockyard canteen, Aurorix 78. And he does know what he's doing. And he's been very keen to take this thing out for a test drive. Don't worry, he's not spotted. It's a replay bug, because of course it is. You'll hear the audible "you've just been spotted" alarm go off when it does actually happen. It probably won't surprise any of you to hear that, like the super ships in World of Warships that absolutely inspired the design of these Tier 11 tanks here in World of Tanks, the Borked has a funny button. You see the icon next to the tank? That's its laser target indicator. It is of limited use, but what it does is if you fire and hit a tank that is not visible, it then immediately becomes visible to the rest of your team. You basically illuminate the target for your teammates. Like this. Didn't get spotted in return either, so that's pretty good. And also kind of surprising, because this tank has horrible stealth. More on that in a moment. The special ability is of limited use, highly situational. You basically wait until you see a tank that was spotted go unspotted and then decide whether or not it's worth the risk of taking the shot. It's the kind of ability that you're probably almost certainly not actually going to get to use in most battles. Oh, there we go. He finally got spotted. Took the shot there. Definitely worth it. Killing an enemy tank. In fact, that was the new French Tier 11 medium, so definitely worth it. Took a hit in return, but that was an excellent trade, and oh dear. Now, if he was in a Manticore doing this, he would be basically taking one shot and then running for his life. But this thing has half the reload of the Manticore. Something like 30 to 40% more DPM, so why not? Of course, the one thing that the Manticore could do, and I'm not sure why I'm comparing this to the Manticore instead of anything else, but I guess because they're both armoured 105mm guns. But the Manticore could have hidden behind the wreck of the S-Tank, because it's so small, and of course the Borked can't, because, I mean, it's not big, but it's certainly a lot taller. Then again, with this kind of DPM and mobility, it doesn't really need to, does it? Holy cow. The thing is, and I keep threatening to talk about the concealment on this thing, because the concealment on this thing is actually kind of bad. That does come with a caveat though, although it's going to sound more impressive than it actually is, because this is the stealthiest German light tank in World of Tanks. The keyword there of course being German light tank, because the German light tanks, while they are more stealthy than the average medium tank, are fairly notorious for being remarkably unstealthy light tanks. And the Borked is no exception. It has, I mean, there aren't any other tier 11 light tanks to compare it against, but it's the unstealthiest tier 10 light tank. All of the other tier 10s have far superior stealth to this thing. It kind of operates a bit like, well, the Russian light tanks. Something like the T-54 lightweight or the T-100 LT, where the stealth is garbage, but you just drive around at extreme high speed, making yourself difficult to hit, and lighten up the enemy team by virtue of having them reveal their positions by taking shots at you. And while I stand by that comparison, you can only really take it so far, because unlike the Russian light tanks, which actually have some armour, in particular their turrets, which are surprisingly good, you cannot say that about the Borked. This thing gets hit, it's going to take damage. Now it does have nearly 2,000 hit points, because it's tier 11, but it's better to not get hit. And if you must get hit, it's better to not take any damage from the hit. And those are really the two categories where the Borked tends to fall over. And especially for a light tank, those are two fairly important categories, because it's got the speed, which aids in not getting hit, but it does not have the stealth, which does not aid in not getting shot at, and if it does get hit, it does not have the armour. It is going to take damage. So you're essentially just trading hit points, of which it has a lot, for survivability. And this battle, which was a bit of a rout for the enemy team, ends in victory for Auroric's team, with the surviving enemy tanks saved only by the fact that Auroric's team ended up winning by capping. A first-class mastery badge there for Auroric, despite his position on the team, which you won't be surprised to learn that, well, he was number one, by quite a convincing margin too. And his opinion on this tank, and I have to agree, I mean, I'm not going to disagree with him, am I? He's the expert. But despite this tank being a lot of fun to play, but it is definitely not for novices. It rewards a fast, aggressive playstyle, but it punishes poor decision making because of the poor stealth and the complete and total lack of armour. And yet, even if you do know how to get the most out of this tank's outstanding good qualities, the speed, the manoeuvrability, and the great 105mm gun, and if you can do that, You will have an absolute blast playing this tank. It is, as a tank, stupidly fun to play. But as a light tank, it's just not competitive enough. And you'll almost certainly, if you can do well in this, you would be doing better in any of the tier 10 light tanks. So Auroric's verdict is in on the German tier 11 light tank, the Borked. It's good, it's fun, but if you're serious about playing light tanks, stick to the tier 10s. And on that probably unexpected bombshell, and let's face it, people are going to be playing this thing anyway because it's tier 11 and it is fun, but on that bombshell, that is it for today. I hope you all enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.